Annyeonghaseyo. Welcome to Namu K-Waves. I will never allow my wife to be stressed. I would make sure I do everything. OMG. Something just happened, and fans are not reacting normally. But before we proceed, I want to thank you all for being part of this channel. It means a lot to me. If you are new here, welcome. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. If you are a returning subscriber, I love you specially. Fans are not celebrating. They are not joking. They are pausing, because what Lee Dong-wook just said did not sound like a joke, did not sound like a casual interview answer. It sounded like a man who has already secretly married, or close to, in detail. And not just any marriage, a specific kind, a quiet one, a serious one, a real one. And the moment he said this, everything changed. But here's the part no one is talking about yet. Why did his answer feel so personal? Stay with me, because once you hear exactly what he said, you might start asking a very uncomfortable question. Who is he preparing for? Because this is not just about marriage anymore. This is about timing. Let us go straight to it. In a recent interview, Lee Dong-wook said something that did not just pass through fans, it stayed. He said that when he gets married, he would do everything. Everything. He would not allow his wife to be stressed. He would take responsibility. He would handle chores. He would make sure she is comfortable. Now, pause. This is not a vague celebrity answer. This is not, I want a happy family someday. This is detailed, too detailed. And when someone speaks like that, it usually means one thing. They are not imagining randomly. So the question is not, will he get married? The real question is, who made him start thinking like this? If you have followed Lee Dong-wook long enough, you will understand why this moment is different. Because this is a man who has always been careful, reserved, emotionally controlled. He does not overshare. He does not romanticize things publicly. He does not say things he doesn't mean. So when someone like him suddenly paints a picture of married life, not vaguely, but vividly, fans notice. And this time, they did not just notice, they reacted. Because this was not just an answer, it felt like a confession without a name attached. Let's be honest for a second. Men do not usually talk like this unless something has shifted internally, unless they have reached a point where marriage is no longer abstract, unless they have either found someone or are very close to it, because this level of intentionality, it does not come from guessing, it comes from feeling. And that's exactly why fans are unsettled, because this did not sound like a man thinking about someday. It sounded like a man preparing. Preparing for what? Or more importantly, preparing for who? There's one part of his statement that people cannot ignore. I would not allow my wife to be stressed. That line did something, because it reveals something deeper than romance. It reveals protection. It reveals a mindset of responsibility. It reveals a man who is already thinking beyond himself. And when fans heard that, the reaction shifted from excitement to suspicion. Because now the question is not, is he ready? The question is, why does he sound like someone who already made that decision? Something about Lee Dong-wook has been changing, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. His tone, his expressions, his reflections on life, they feel different, more grounded, more intentional, less about image and more about meaning. And when you combine that with this recent statement, it starts forming a picture, a very clear one. And once you see that picture, you can't unsee it. Here's what fans are starting to believe. This is not random. This is not a phase. This is not just a what-if scenario. They believe Lee Dong-wook might already be in a serious relationship and simply choosing to keep it private. Think about it. If he's dating someone seriously, would he announce it immediately? No, that's not his style. He would protect it, keep it quiet, build it away from the noise, and only speak when he's ready. So what if this statement was not about the future? What if it was about the present? Let us go deeper. What if the reason he spoke so clearly, so confidently, so specifically, is because he's already had these conversations with someone? Think about that. Not fans, not media, someone real, someone close, someone important enough to make him think about doing everything for her. And if that's true, then we're not watching a man considering marriage, we're watching a man approaching it. There's a certain energy before big life decisions, a quiet certainty, a calm before change, and that's exactly what this feels like. Not chaotic, not rushed, but steady, intentional, almost like a countdown that no one else can see, except the fans who are paying attention. Because when someone starts speaking like this, the announcement usually comes later. Not everyone is celebrating. Some fans are uneasy because they know what this means. If Lee Dong-wook is truly ready for marriage, then things are about to change. His image, his availability, his relationship with fans, and that reality is hard for some people to accept. But here's the truth no one can escape. You can't stop someone who has already decided. So now everything comes back to one question. Not rumors, not speculation, but logic. A man who describes marriage in detail, a man who talks about protecting his wife, a man who sounds calm, intentional, and ready. Is that a man who is just thinking, or a man who is already there? So I want you to really think about this. Was this just an interview answer, or was it something else entirely? A hint? A signal? Or a quiet confirmation that Lee Dong-wook is no longer waiting? Be honest, did that sound like a single man talking, or someone already in love? Before you decide what you believe, there's one detail most people completely ignored, and once you notice it, everything starts to feel different. Let us go back again, not to what Lee Dong-wook said, but to how he said it, because delivery reveals more than words. There was no hesitation, no awkward pause, no overthinking. It came out naturally, almost like something he had already thought about many times before. And that's where things start getting uncomfortable, because people don't speak that smoothly about something they've never imagined deeply. So the real question is, how long has he been thinking about this? Think about your own life for a second. When you talk about something for the first time, you hesitate, you search for words, you keep it vague. But when something has lived in your mind for a while, you become clear, direct, specific. That's exactly what happened here, and fans noticed immediately, because clarity like that does not come from nowhere. Now, let's take this one step further. What if these are not just his thoughts? What if these are things he's already discussed with someone else? Because let's be honest, statements like, "I will do everything," "I will not let her be stressed," those are not just personal thoughts, those are promises, and promises are usually made when there's someone to promise to. So who has he been talking to when the cameras are off? There's something else changing, and it's subtle but powerful. Lee Dong-wook is no longer speaking like someone focused only on himself. He's speaking like someone preparing to share his life. That shift is not small. It's one of the biggest emotional transitions a person can go through, from independence to responsibility for another person. And once that shift happens, there's usually no going back. Here's the interesting part. He didn't say much. It was just a few sentences, but those few sentences created more noise than a full announcement would have, because silence leaves room for interpretation, and right now, that silence is doing all the work, because sometimes what's not said is louder than what is. There's a certain calmness in people who have made a decision. They don't rush, they don't explain too much, they don't seek validation, they just move differently. And that's exactly the energy fans are picking up from him right now. Not confusion, not curiosity, but quiet certainty. Let's be realistic. If Lee Dong-wook is truly in this mindset, then marriage is no longer a distant idea. It becomes something that can happen anytime. And that's the part that's making fans uneasy, because it means the announcement, if it comes, might not come with a warning. It could just happen. A lot of fans are acting calm, but underneath, there's tension, because this feels real. Not like rumors, not like speculation, but like something slowly unfolding. And when something feels real, it hits differently, because reality cannot be ignored. Here's another angle most people aren't considering. What if this was intentional, not accidental? What if he